This is 42. 42. This is a reading of Nyobaywa. It's a movie script I wrote. I did a fundraiser to get some representation, and that worked well. Back then, I was called Nyobaywi. I changed it to Nyobaywa. It may change again. A lot of things may change again. It's not. I have no. I'm going to use a Julius Malema line. I have no holy cows. I think he meant sacred cows, but we have no holy cows. We have no holy cows. So, no sacred cows. It's just trying to bring forth the best story about. It's about what. It's the story behind the story that eventually unites the two lands of Mizrahim, and that would become known as Kemet and later Egypt. And there's more than just the Nile. There's Sumer is part of it. Yam, Tenehu, Tejemu, Tamehu, different names. The ancient Libyans, also similar to Lower Egypt. Taseti is a separate nation. Tashemu is a separate nation. And it's a story. And this is a scene and a half from the story. It's a reading from Wild Sound. One thing that I would say the main obstacle, the main reason why this really wasn't going to work as intended, and it's more of an exercise than anything, it's more of a way to get some publicity, and it's more of a way to really have an excuse to talk about it, because the author commentary is very much necessary to give this context, what I'm going for, what I'm shooting for. Okay, the main reason why this doesn't really work is the cast would have to know the language. This is written to be in subtitles. These should be English subtitles. They should be speaking as close as what we can relate, as close as what we can uncover to the ancient Egyptian language. This should be in the ancient Egyptian language with the manner of speech that you often see with Sudanese, rolling R's in the way you see with South Africans. If you listen to, like I mentioned, Julius Malema, I think I just mentioned him. God, it's kind of late, and I'm burning the midnight oil, if you know what I mean. Vodka. And I really don't drink vodka, but it's really one of those nights. So, help me out with this. Don't spank me too hard, because this is, it, we'll get to it when we get to it. But there's one thing I want to say. Listening to Julius Malema, he rolls his R's in a way that I kind of would think is more like, what is his origin language? I'm curious about South Africans, because I also hear Khoisan that roll their R's, and I don't really see that often in Africa, but it's something that ancient Egyptians do, and sort of in the same way. The only way I can compare it is maybe like the stereotypical German, where they're like where they roll them like that. Like I heard Julius Malema, he turned extremely into extremely. I'm like, what language is doing that? Is it just the Zulu language, the Xhosa language? Because they got that both. So I know. So I'm gonna get to it in a minute. And that's the main thing, is it's a different, like when I say the Sudanese manner of speech, or sort of the East African manner of speech with more of the Southern and Central African dialects, that's pretty much the same thing. I'm just trying to say that these are American actors. This wasn't really much of a budget for this reading. So it's interesting. One of them really goes for it. One of them is acting like he's trying to get a job, and he maybe could get a job as an acting coach. He's not trying to strike out looking. I'll give him that. So we'll see that in a minute. But that's the main thing. When I say the manner of speech, you know how like Africans are. I'll kind of get to it and maybe give some examples with some, with a real African language that I'm trying to learn, even though I have about as much time to learn it as I have to put on wings and fly around. So, excuse the clicks. I'm going to get this started with a commentary quickly, right. So, here it comes.
Bestine 42 Tribes. Exterior PE coastline campsite evening. Large tent on the outskirts of Pei. It's a midday sun. The tent is shared by Darega, Menmaket, Okala, a gaunt male Tamehu general whose army was already in Pei, named Holre Unas. Kanyas, Tukama, Jahu, Harneres, and Afgar. A loud groan is heard from Ha-Eko outside the tent, clutching his belly in pain.
We steered past my guard. My belly, my breath departeth. I goeth east.
I thought the doors had constitution.
Oh, we do. We do. Or I'd be dead. I was ran through with swords. I could smell the scent of my own bowels. Unpleasant.
That dude is going for it. Now, I'm serious, that white dude is going for it. It's like he's sick of being on unemployment. I'm sure I can act. You gotta have to pay me. I feel you, bro. I see what you mean. The thing is, the reason why he's not hitting it is, one, again, it's in English. It should be in English. You know what I mean? And he's a dwarf, but that's what the Egyptians call pygmy. So we would be dealing with a pygmy. You know what I'm saying? A pygmy who's older and a fatalist character. The Ha-Eko character, they mispronounce it. Like Ha-Eko. It's just Ha-Eko. Almost like how it go. Ha-Eko. The Ha-Eko character is an older fellow. He's somewhat of a fatalist. He's really not that hurt. He's not smelling his bowels. He's basically, and this is on me because I didn't really mention the sarcastic tone in the script, because the script is already kind of long, and hopefully you could kind of feel the character before this scene. I'm always hitting that thing, man. If you listen to my videos, you're gonna constantly hear that handle get knocked. So he is going for it though. There's one more thing I wanted to mention about Ha-Eko. Yeah, it's not, he's not that hurt. He's not really smelling the scent of his bowels. He's mainly messing with the other dude. Yeah, because he's too old to be fighting. But he was just in a battle, and somebody did shank him in the stomach. So he's not comfortable. He wants some help. But he's also trying to play the role of the tough guy and just bitch about it and mess with the other guy, just bother him. If he was really hurt, he'd be in the tent, somebody bandage me, I'm bleeding to death. You know what I mean? He's sitting there, he's just complaining. And he's probably not sober. Ha-Eko is he's a writer. He's a priest of Jehudi, not Jehudimus, just Jehudi. That's one of the old deities, also known as Thoth. So he's a scribe, but being that he's a dwarf, how they called the pygmies, he likes to fight.
HeruVenGulGah leaves Ha-Eko and enters the tent.
Ok, Menmaket, come get thou him.
The dwarf?
Yeah, he was smitten to the belly of 4 nights' warfare. Wines all allowed, even with gloomy face.
Then lay hands, Heru.
I don't feel like it. I'm weary too.
Well, we may see this through.
I think the brother kind of struggles with this because he sees that it's written in some Middle English. in Middle English, that's you going deep into Europe now. But the reality is, he'd do better if he would smoke a blunt, and just be himself and just be relaxed with it, because it's written really more for him. It's written in the tone of black people, especially somebody he does look kind of Nigerian. So if he would just like speak to the rhythm of his language and just say, he was smitten to the belly, a 4 nights warfare, and he moaning aloud, even with gloomy face. You know what I mean? And just say that in his language, and like I can say a little bit like Abala Latami. That's how are you in Balanta. Like if he, that's like the body is fine, and then I was just making stuff up. But that's sort of the tone that, how Africans kind of speak in like they speak in a sentence hard. That's more the rhythm for this to work. And then you got the writing. That's different. See, the writing is there to take it back to how Africans used to speak. Because from my research, the old languages both spoke in sort of that classic type thing, where somebody went to the land of instead of they just went over there. So I think he's seeing the language and not really and missing the language because of that. He's seeing Middle English. But the reality is, this should be spoken in Middle Egyptian.
This is Unas of Yam. Was he and his men that denieth Mutari's return?
O Hotep brother, after the warfare we spake words of greeting.
Hotep?
The tongues of Hapi are not well known to Unas. He witnessed a fellow man of war murdered by the wretched woman after he was left spellbound.
Yeah, I think they all need, especially the brother, man, they all need to smoke pass a blunt, scratch your nuts, and it's difficult because it's like a more formal version of the language, but this is not an informal conversation. Like when he says spellbound, that's kind of spooky. Or it should be kind of spooky.
I want to attack soon with everyone we have. My forces, yams and thighs. She is a powerful hunter, so we should hunt her while she rests. Yet in hunger my men are weak, as children. The towns of the south would not make fair trade. An army of our size that hunts will soon become abhorrent to the land.
Yeah, again, if they're mainly missing it because they're not relaxing into it. And it's the problem where it's like it's Middle English, but it's just the manner of speech mainly. And it's not, and they're mistaking that for formality that really does.
Rest, food, then war. All in. Unas, kill Mutari.
Picking up foreign words that he's familiar with and repeating them.
Yes. Kill Mutari.
Smiles. Exterior temple of Wajet Day. Tarfkan, Tefnut, and Ovine Setinaru are together while Sitraga stares out of a window at the houses of Netoro.
Allow him to praise thy womb, Tefnut.
Allow him to praise thy womb, Tefnut.
By praising thy womb, the scorpion would pledge his allegiance to all of Happy. Samatawi would be known, and there would be one high house from which thou art a part.
I like the attempt at Ovine. I mean, well, he's going for it. I would recommend him as an acting coach. He's going for it. He comes close to where Ovine is at that point. Ovine is kind of got a pass, but at this point in this story, and his past comes out a little bit more in the sequel. He's a judge. He's a priest of Malungu, who's like a male version of Ma'at or Malet. So he's something. And he kind of gets them. I think it's a little much, and that irreverent tone instead of being more natural. But again, it's not really, written for to be spoken like Middle English, even though it is in Middle English.
Tefnut, thou shalt be Njubi one day yet.
Yes. This is law to better serve the people as the desert expands and happy retreats. He cannot harm the womb he serves.
There is an army out there. Why? I have no choice. Verily so, I have no choice.
There is an army here. We can hire more soldiers. Janubi would return as the serpent in the desert and lay the scorpion beady low again.
There is another path.
Everyone faces Satraga.
I like that dude, Alan Michael Brunet, is going for it. He's swinging. He's going for it. He definitely said, okay, I'm going to be the star of this. I got a recommendation for him. Yeah. I definitely got a recommendation. So it's a good exercise to really see where it's at, to see what you're going to do with it. And I can build from this. I can kind of look at this and say, hey, this is the example of, with the commentary in mind, where I'm trying to go with Nyobaywa. So it was fun. You have fun too now.